So, lads, today we're about to embark on what might be the worst basketball game in the history of basketball. We are watching potentially. I need to just see underdog right now, just to see the underdog WNBA because it looks like Ariel Atkins is going to play, so it might not be too bad. So it's looking like the Indiana Fever are going to have no point guard today. And the Chicago Sky are going to have no point guard today. Actually, no, sorry. Sevgi Uzun exists. If it was ever Sevgi Uzun, neither of these teams would have a point guard. And the Indiana Fever had all the opportunity in the world to get a point guard. They had the opportunity to get a point guard. They have chose not to. They have done it. They have chose not to. And this organization has, in my opinion, they've given up on the season. That is just my opinion. I'm not saying that as a matter of fact. This is a complete opinion piece. The Fever could waive one or both. They'd be paying either out full out or be paying them out in full either way. With over 95k in cap space remaining, they'd have the room to take hits and fill both spots at rest of season deals, but maybe don't want to take the PR hit. They could have had two players signed by today. Once again, PR mentioned for the Fever while the rest of these teams do whatever's in their best interest. Yep. And you might say, oh, but like the Fever couldn't get those players. They couldn't like organize. Like, let's be real. The Indiana Fever teams have gotten hardship contracts equally as quick. The Indiana Fever knew early. They realistically knew. They didn't get the like diagnosis on both of them. They knew on Thursday night that Sig Coulson tore ACL. They would have known straight away. They would have known Thursday night that Ari McDonald broke a bone in their foot. They had all of Friday to try find one player. And by the way, like, you don't need to sign both. Whoever you're bringing in on a hardship contract should be assumed they're there for the end of the year. Because I don't know when Caitlyn Clark is coming back. It's a when, not if. Let's be real. It's a when, not if. The only situation that Caitlyn Clark does not come back for the Indiana Fever this year is if the Fever don't make the playoffs. And that is a far more likely scenario than people think. So if the Indiana Fever lose tonight, they then go and face off against the if they lose tonight, they face the Wings, and there's a chance they lose that game in the Mystics. If they don't go 2-1 in that spell, and let's say they go 1-2, they go 18-16 if they go 1-2 in that spell. So they go, what, one game above 500? Or there you go, 2 games above 500. And then when it comes to the Valks and the Sparks, the Valks, I think, are just going to hang around. And the Sparks are a team that are on the... Like, the Sparks are going to make the playoffs. I think that's a given. The Storm are going to finish above the Fever. And the Aces are going to finish above the Fever. I think that's probably a given. The Fever aren't going to catch up to any of these top 3 teams. The Fever being in the 5-4 matchup is the best case scenario. I think it's more than likely the Fever end up in the 7-2 or the 1-8 matchup. But if you look at the Fever, like, Caitlyn's not even close to being right. Like, there was no talk about Caitlyn, being back in practice. There's no real talk of that. And if they go and lose these 3 games, and like, I think without a point guard, the Fever lose to the Sun. Whatever about the Mystics, without like a legit point guard. And off the top, the only player that's good enough, there's 2 players that are good enough basketball wise, to like really make an impact at the point guard position, and both of them have real big question marks. No one knows why Odyssey Sims got cut from the Sparks. She missed 5 games for personal reasons, played 1, then got cut. So nobody knows what's wrong, but she's good enough that she can hold down the fort. And then obviously there is Kennedy Carter, who we know is going to be a disaster. But I personally think fuck locker room vibes. We need dogs. I don't care. Give Kennedy Carter a separate locker room. Go to Kennedy. Your job is to be a dog out here. Go get buckets. Go fight, and just go and win. Because in Kennedy's defense, she does want to win. Like, if you want, for as much as you hate Kennedy, you can't deny she wants to win sport. She wants to win games. So for me, that's the way I'm looking at it. Like, And I don't think Kennedy, like, I think I would personally give like a fuck it. We're not going to win anything anyway. So maybe if you bring in Kennedy Carter, it'll help you stay afloat, and you just go and cut her before the playoffs if you don't want her. Or you can cut her when Caitlin Clark comes back if you don't want her. That's if she wants to play. But at the end of the day, then they go and play back-to-back against the Lynx. Like, let's be completely honest. Even if Caitlin Clark comes back-to-back against the Lynx, then the Storm, the Sparks, and for some reason just can't beat Kate Martin, I don't think it's an impossibility of the Fever going a 5-game slide. Like, I think that there's a chance they do that. And then, again, to end the year, they face off against a really tough... They end the year against the Lynx. Like, they have a real tough schedule. But I think the Fever... the Fever would not lose this game if they had a point guard. Like, I just realized Jaylen Sherrod was available. Jaylen Sherrod is fine. Like, she is an absolutely fine player. She's an energy player. So when Caitlyn does eventually come back, she can be an energy player off the bench. Yvonne Anderson's available, I guess. But that's my favorite thing about the Lynx. The Lynx had the cap space, and they were just like, yeah, we're just going to let Yvonne Anderson go because Sherrod's available. She's better. You know, we're not the biggest fan of Anderson. We're going to get rid of her, and Jaylen Sherrod, you can come in. And I'm like, that's what teams should do. That's what competent teams do. It's what good teams do. Like, it is what it is. It is what it is. And I just think that the Indiana Fever, regardless of, again, the argument of people are like, oh, who could they get? When I was saying the Indiana Fever need to bring in a point guard, this was like on Thursday night. I'm like, regardless of their injuries, then you bring in one. There was like, who can you get? And I'm like, people just keep saying like people obviously keep talking about like Serena Sundell. Serena Sundell stinks. Serena Sundell might end up being a player at some stage in her career. I'm going to be honest. Serena Sundell absolutely might end up being a player at some stage in her career. But like, if I was the Indiana Fever, it takes about a week to get a visa sorted. I would see if there is any possible way of just like, again, aim for the stars. I don't think she'll come over. Trying to bring in Alina Yakupova from Ukraine. Like, just watch her highlights. Watch her highlights. She is an absolute hooper. And she's like a point forward. She can play a bit at the one. She's big. She's strong. She's like a 6'1", 6'2" playmaker. And you can play her beside Kelsey Mitchell because, look, she was drafted, but I don't think the Sparks have her rights. It was over a decade ago. She hasn't come over at all. She's been really successful in her career. She's won EuroLeague MVPs. I don't think she wants to come over. Maybe try to convince her to come over. Maybe Mariana Ortiz if she's around. Even Alexis Peterson. Like, Alexis Peterson has looked really good anytime seen her play for Germany. She played 1 year with the Seattle Storm. I know she's 5'5", but I've liked her playing for Germany. And even like, I think you could even go and make a... Screw it. You could even go and take an absolute flyer. An absolute flyer on a player that I watched a little bit playing against WNBA players this year. And I think maybe you can take an absolute flyer in Roxy Barrowman. She played in Asia, in the Chinese league. She averaged 16 points per game for Iran. Problem is, she played well in China. She had a 20 game in China. I didn't realize how poorly she did in Euro Cup. You know what? At this stage, like, we were almost signing Jaylen Brown, averaged 3 points a game in Russia. But like, even someone like that, like, just think outside the box. Like, I don't even care. Like, I'm just trying to think of who I've watched. Like, I haven't even gone that much into detail. Anyone, literally anyone. Odyssey Sims. See if Celeste Taylor's come back from her foot injury. Try to make a deal to get Grace Berger when she gets when the 7 days done in Dallas. Something. Anything to bring in players. But I mean, I shit you not, the Indiana Fever are going to go out in the playoffs with 7 players. They're going to go out in the playoffs with 7 players. They're going to wait. They're going to wait. And they're going to sign a hardship player. Instead of cutting these 2 players, for PR reasons, they're not going to. So we're going to have 2 players injured for the season on our roster. We are going to, which brings us down to 10. We're going to have a young player who's not ready for the playoffs in Michaela Timpson, who she's not going to play. We're going to have a player that they only signed to keep the fans happy, that Stephanie White doesn't have any intention of playing, Chloe Bibby, and we're going to have a fucking human shot clock. I don't even mind if the human shot clock is the 12th player in a 12-man team. Everyone's like, oh, the 12th player doesn't play. Well, the 10th player fucking plays. The 10th player plays. And let's be completely honest. I've counted 7 players that'll play, and that includes Demiris Dantas, who stinks. They're starting 5. And that's hoping Caitlyn Clark comes back. And by the way, I would be very hesitant to bring Caitlyn Clark back because she's going to have to play 30 minutes a game. I'd be very hesitant to bring Caitlyn Clark back without 2 other point guards to take a little bit of the load off her. I'd be very hesitant to do it. But anyway, I'll see you guys.